What up, though? What up, though, y'all? We are back at it again. Same twins, you know. Lions 401 podcast. Of course, I'm King Keith. You already know to follow me Instagram, Twitter, blah, 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 underscore Dr. King Stream. But again, thank y'all for jumping into the Lions 401 podcast again. Obviously, we got plenty to talk about today. The Lions did play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City last night, and it was a very, very eventful game, both during and after the game. So we have plenty that we want to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to my co-host. She can introduce herself.
What up, world? It's your girl CB back with another episode as promised for 11 Lions. Yeah, we do have a lot to discuss on the schedule today. We are going to talk about obviously the game where Detroit failed 17-30 against Kansas City at home, Arrowhead. The Brian Branch fight, obviously, I've seen a lot of videos already. I've seen a lot of opinions, comments, the controversial calls, the Brian Branch non-call with Juju doing the block, Jared Goff's penalty that was called back. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. And then Tampa Bay preview.
There's a lot going on, CBS. A lot going on.
A lot going on already. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of opinions. First thing we probably should get into is obviously Detroit lost 17-30. I thought the score was going to be reversed if we check my prediction. I thought Detroit would have 30 and Kansas City would have around 17. But that didn't seem to be the case last night.
Yeah. Lot of reasons why that was. I think in particular, once the Lions DBs kind of started to drop like flies, it seemed like during the practice week, figured this was going to be a tough game. Like with the corners, pretty much almost all the corners out. I mean, you got to make Robertson still there, and Rocky Sin provides some value. But um, honestly, when I look at the game last night, I feel like I have more comments for Lions fans than like the general consensus or whatever. Whenever the Lions lose, it seems like because they've been so good the past few years, it's the end of the world to people. Like, oh my God, the Lions lost. They're frauds. We can't believe in this team. It's this huge overreaction into, I can't believe they lost the game. If they're going to lose to Kansas City now, what happens if we play Kansas City in a Super Bowl? If they lose to Green Bay now, what happens when we play Green Bay in the playoffs? You got to understand, nobody is going 17-0. Nobody's going undefeated. Literally, there are no undefeated teams, and it's only week 6.
Hello.
So, yeah, games happen like this where a team loses. And to be honest, Kansas City played a really damn good game. I personally think the Lions tip their cap, move on to next week because the game plan Kansas City had to spread the Lions out was outstanding. To attack the corners was outstanding. They attacked the linebackers. This was about as bad of a game as I feel like I've seen the Lions linebackers have in a while. And that's not because they're bad players. It's because Patrick Mahomes is starting to assert himself again as the best player in the NFL, especially with Lamar Jackson being injured currently. Kansas City has speed on the field. They're getting Raji Rice back next week. The defense is playing well. They're a really damn good team, and they were at home. This was the game that I just feel like a lot of teams would have lost, including the Lions. And yes, the Lions could have executed some things better, obviously, especially on the offensive end. Yes, the officiating is always going to be questionable whenever you play Kansas City. It's part of what the game is against them. And it's not fair, but it is what it is. We
Which
know
we'll
what's
get
coming.
into.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when I look at the two teams and how they played, I think the Lions played good but made too many mistakes, and I think Kansas City played really, really well and they executed in a lot of situations, especially on third downs or critical situations. Honestly, there were some times where they didn't even get to third down because Mahomes was just making plays. He's playing well, and when he's playing well, I mean, they're just hard to stop. Again, the game plan was strong. Their defense was really fired up. Their linebackers were outstanding. Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, those guys made some huge plays. I think Kansas City just played good. The Lions played a really good team, and they didn't play their best game against a really good team, and this is usually what happens.
Yeah, I think Kansas City, I would say definitely they played a good game. They played the long game. Yes, we did come on the opening drive. We did technically score that touchdown. Obviously, got took back. We had to go for that field goal after we got called for that delay of game, which that was a little confusing. I didn't know what was going on there. But looking at some of the stats, time of possession, Lions 29 minutes, Chiefs 30 minutes. The Lions punted 3 times, Chiefs only punted once, and that was kind of more so late in the game. Fourth down, the Chiefs were 2 of 3. We were 0 of 2. Third down, 4 of 10, the Chiefs. We were 5 of 11. Total plays, Kansas City 62, Detroit 53.
Yeah, a lot of those numbers sound about right. I think there was a lot of stuff that was even, but execution again on fourth down, Kansas City executed.
Yes.
We kind of almost executed, but like did it. There was a St. Brown drop, which again is just an uncharacteristic thing, and it happens. St. Brown catches pretty much everything. I read a statistic that said that was his first drop on a fourth down play ever. It happens. You got to
Yeah, I'm not
piggyback.
gonna get too hard on that one because it's St. Brown. We know
Yeah,
what St.
like
Brown is and what he brings.
it happened, and you could feel it. It was a very critical play because the Lions were up three, I want to say at that point, but then Kansas City got the ball back and they scored. But also Kansas City was going to get the ball back first in the second half, and you knew if Kansas City went down there and scored a touchdown and made it 20-10, it was going to be a tough game for the Lions to come back from. And they still fought back. They got it back to 20-17, but at that point they just couldn't get the stop against Kansas City the next drive. It happened. Again, the execution on offense, on defense wasn't perfect. The DBs being just hurt. I mean, even Kirby Joseph coming in and out because of injuries, and Brian
Yep.
Branch isn't fully healthy either. Ali McNeil still isn't back. Like, we know the injury situation with the Lions is just a thing right now, and it seems like that is a consistent thing, unfortunately, for them recently. But the execution could have been better, but I think they just lost to a good team. And if you don't execute perfectly against a team that's playing the way Kansas City play, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose.
Yeah, I definitely feel there were a couple mistakes that I feel if Detroit didn't have those mistakes, I think the game could have turned out a little different. First, obviously, the Jared Goff touchdown call back. Second, the Rocky Sin pass interference gave Kansas City 15 yards, obviously the first down. Had we made that stop, it would have had Kansas City on fourth down, back against the wall, attempting a long field goal,
Mm.
which they might not have made, but
Yeah, Bucker hasn't been very good this year either. Yeah.
yeah, because he missed an extra point. Also, the Hutch roughing the passer, yeah, and the golf fourth down drop. I felt without those mistakes, I think we would be having a very different conversation. And to piggyback off of what you're saying, the Lions didn't play a horrible game, but I don't think we played up to the competition. The defense was those corners, we couldn't play no man to man sticky coverage in that game. I believe we are playing mostly zone, which I understood. I understood. We don't want to put these corners on the island with those
Mm.
speedsters that Kansas City has. But I think if Detroit didn't have those mistakes, those four big mistakes, I think we will be having a different conversation. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and those are all critical plays. And again, some of them questionable. I mean, with the officiating when it comes into play, it's going to be questionable. Like, you're just not going to get the benefit of the doubt against Kansas City, especially in Kansas City. It just kind of is what it is. I mean, the Yasin thing, I don't know if that pass was catchable, but they called it. And the Lions did have some more chances to get stops, and they didn't. The golf thing was confusing to say the least. One, because of the call itself. Um,
Yeah, let's get into that call. Well, what happened?
so they called it illegal motion. Obviously, golf motioned out from under center, but the rule is that if he lines up as a quarterback, then yes, he has to stop after the motion. What golf was saying was that he never did actually get under center. He came toward the center, but he never got under center. So his understanding is that if he didn't line up as a quarterback like fully, then he shouldn't have to stop. And we can go back and look at it. I I don't know. He didn't stop. So illegal motion if you say he's lined up as a quarterback. That is kind of a gray area. The time period to make the call is where I think a lot of consternation came into play with the fans. And I agree. Like, I don't understand how you can be like, oh, well, we didn't review this. Like, well, what did you do? Because there was a minute and 14 seconds in between when that play was ran, in between the next lining up play call, whatever that was coming next. So there was a pause. And they can say, oh, it was a conversation that we had, but like, what initiated that conversation? What prompted y'all to be like, let's talk about this? There's no way a call didn't come from somebody else to make that decision of like, okay, well, we just looked at this play and we saw this. If you're reviewing penalties, like that's where we get into like, all right, well, y'all are doing stuff against us that y'all don't do to anybody else. And also this isn't something that is allowed. Like penalties aren't reviewable. So the time period was really my biggest concern. It's like we have this discussion, and then also we miss a Chris Jones offside on the same play as well. Like, okay, well, if you are somebody's looking at this, why are we not looking at everything and not just what the Lions did wrong? Um, or if we're talking about an expedited review and all these different kind of things, why was there no expedited review when Travis Kelce dropped that pass? Like weird stuff that you're just gonna deal with. A lot of great areas. I didn't like it, but if they say he lined up as a quarterback, then it is technically an illegal motion.
Okay, so when me and my friend we went to the bar and watched the game last night. When I first saw the play, and then the call came, like you said, a minute later or whatever, the flag came a minute later. I thought that Jared Goff was in motion. Monty was motioning him to go left, and Monty was the quarterback. So I'm like, okay, why the flag? Why the legal motion? But then, the commentators explain. Of course, we had our text exchange, kind of talking, looking up the play. I guess what they're saying is Jared Goff obviously, like, his hands were down, like he was under center. So he's a quarterback at that point. But Monty was really the quarterback coming out the shotgun. But if you're the quarterback and you're under center, after you come from under center, you have to stop and then do the motion. But if Jared Goff was coming out of the shotgun, say he was standing next to Monty on the right side, and then he goes to motion left, it would have been all right. But Jared Goff, after the game, said, you know, the coaching staff does a good job looking up the rules, things of that nature. He never heard of it. And damn it, honestly, I, it seems like every week in the NFL, I learned a new rule, okay? Like
And
I
you
learned a new rule.
the issue as a Lions fan always comes into play because the new rule always comes up against you first. So when it comes to completing a process to the catch, when it comes to you can't challenge if a person's knee is down or not because of a scoring play, like all these new things that have happened in the past happen against the Lions. Like it's always a new rule, and it's always us that the shit gets tested out on first. That's where as a Lions fan it gets really, really frustrating because I know that Dan Campbell goes over this stuff with the refs before the game.
And I was
And
just about to ask that.
yeah, like they know the rules. They know whenever they're running one of these trick plays, we got to make sure that we do everything by the law. And for them to still throw the flag, even though I'm sure the Lions rehearsed this and had an understanding of what was and wasn't allowed, it's just one of those things.
So basically, I guess what the referees are saying, Jared Goff under center, playing under center, he's a quarterback. He ain't no receiver. So he has to, if he's going to come from under center, he has to stop or set himself, gather himself. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's neither here nor there. The only reason why I'm going to say, I guess I'm not too upset about the call is only because we did not lose by a touchdown. It wasn't the deciding factor in the game. And I guess, like you said, it is a gray area. It is okay, did the Lions, because some people are saying, okay, well, did the Lions coaching staff not research this when they ran over this play in practice, when they practiced this play, when they came to the referees before the game? Or was this just poor execution?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna always give the Lions the benefit of the doubt over the refs if I'm being honest, but um, I don't know. I don't know. It's just frustrating when it always is a thing, especially against a team like Kansas City. Like if we talk about the officiating, The fact that Kansas City had no penalties accepted against them last night is kind of wild, especially when they had 13 last week and are averaging 8.4 before this game per game. Um, it just doesn't happen where you see a team, especially a team like Kansas City that plays aggressive man coverage, that have pass rushers that really like trying time to snap and get after it, that have offensive linemen who line up very close on the boundary to illegal formations pretty much every single play.
Yep.
A quarterback that scrambles a lot, which typically leads to a lot of holds because offensive linemen don't know exactly which direction he's going. All these things that would cause Kansas City to commit a lot of penalties, and usually do, never happened last night. And there are the missed holds and all that kind of stuff. And that, to be fair, can be pointed out in a lot of games. But there was a decent amount of them this game. Between the offensive line, between the tight ends, there was a lot of holds. Obviously, we'll talk about the crackback block by Juju Smith and why Brian Branch went off, because a lot of that seemed to be the referees not having control of the game. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame the refs for losing the game. I don't think that the Lions lost this game because of the officiating. It just, it's just funny when you see Kansas City fans be like, "What do you mean? Officiating doesn't benefit us?" Like it always has, it always will, as long as you have Mahomes and Kelsey.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna say that obviously the officiating was the make or break because I'm like, do I want to make excuses? No. But will I say I was happy with all the calls and the technicalities and some of the misholds? I'm not gonna say I was exactly happy, but I'm not gonna say that Jared Goff's touchdown being called back was a deciding factor because it wasn't. By the time Kansas City was taking the knee, we
Mm-hmm.
were already down 2 scores by the time they're taking the knee in the fourth quarter. So I'm not going to sit here and say that was a deciding factor. Now, had we still got that touchdown, could it have changed the momentum of the game? Yes, or maybe no. But then again, I don't like to predict the future of football because to me, any given Sunday.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. But on the topic of officiating, obviously, like we had mentioned, there was a situation with Brian Branch at the end of the game, and when he spoke to the pool reporters after the game, seemed to indicate that there was stuff going on during the game that was frustrating, that the Chiefs were doing a lot of late stuff, which is pretty noticeable. I noticed a couple times where they did some unnecessary stuff, mainly the offensive lineman. I didn't notice the Juju thing until after the fact, and people were showing the videos today. But um, the referees let things get a little bit out of control, and so leads to a situation where Pat Mahomes wants to shake Brian Branch's hand, even though Pat Mahomes was taunting guys all night. Obviously, they're not going to throw a flag on him, but he was taunting guys all night. Brian Branch doesn't want to shake his hand. Me personally, no beef with that at all. Honestly, if I'm being real, I have no beef with anything Brian Branch did last night. I don't. I'm not sure if you have an opinion on it. I'll share my deeper thoughts on it, but just on the surface level, I have no issues with anything Brian Branch did last night.
okay, yeah. So before we go over opinions, let's go over what happened, why this whole controversy or brawl is being labeled a brawl, which I mean, football back in the day, people used to fight, but I know they trying to clean it up with sportsmanship and all that. But okay, so fourth quarter, I believe it was what, 15, 17 seconds left, something like that. Chiefs pretty much won the game, 17-30. After Patrick Mahomes needs the ball, the both teams kind of start rushing the field, even though it was like 15 to 17 seconds left. Rushing the
That's pretty
field.
routine, though. That's pretty routine.
Yeah, but I think they might want to clean that up. Just let it get to about 3 or 4 seconds left, but I go on. So Patrick Mahomes kind of reaches out his hand to shake Brian Branch's hand, but Brian Branch he kind of faked him, like he kind of held it out, and then he made his hand go down. Patrick Mahomes misses, but when Patrick Mahomes misses, he still taps Brian Branch's forearm anyway to be like, whatever. And then Juju Smith, I guess, sees this whole melee of them two, which okay, I don't know why he got involved, but Juju Smith gets a little agitated and he goes over to Brian Branch, basically trying to touch him and did. And he was met with like an
That's
open
fine.
palm. Yeah, it was like an open palm slap. I know the media at first was trying to label it a punch, but it wasn't a punch. But I mean, Juju was trying to shake his hand, trying to touch him, trying to agitate him, whatever. Brian Branch swings and hit him, and then pretty much all hell breaks loose. Both teams rush. try to get everything scuffled, whatever, trying to get everybody kind of separated more so. And while this has happened, I'm just watching the play clock just wind down to zero. But looks like Brian Branch also pulls Juju Smith Schuster's face mask to the ground and pulls him to the ground while the other guy is trying to hit Brian Branch. And Brian Branch, with one hand, pulls his face mask on the ground and pretty much up from there. But obviously, it's a whole big thing and whole big controversy. The league, a lot of people are calling for a Brian Branch suspension. Okay, so on to your opinion. What do you think about that whole kerfuffle? Should there be a suspension? Should there be a fine? What was there mitigating factors, which is what Brian Branch is claiming, and it seems like tape is backing up his claim. Go ahead.
Absolutely no suspension. I think a suspension is silly in this case. First of all, when he hit them, their helmets were on. Like, what are we doing here? Um, After whatever happens to the bottom of the pile happens to the bottom of the pile. We have no video evidence of what's going on down there for real. It's just a bunch of bodies down there at that point. The mitigating factors matter. They do, and it's on video of Juju Smith making. Some people will try and argue it's a clean block or is within the play. Definitely late, definitely illegal. It's definitely a block in the back. People will say, "Oh, well, he pushed him on the side." It's a damn block in the back. I don't know if people have read the rule book before and know what the rules look like. You do that, that's a penalty. It is a penalty, and it's unnecessary and it's dangerous. So yeah, Brian Branch took offense to that. Juju kind of did a little bit of a jump over, stand over kind of thing after that as well. Kind of like a, "Oh yeah, I knocked you down," kind of whatever. Like, we don't know what's going on conversationally there, but I think the referees had a horrible hold upon that. After that, it kind of was what it was. I mean, it's an altercation. It is a physical altercation. A suspension, I think, is completely unnecessary. I think a fine is absolutely warranted, though, and I think that's okay. Um, I have a problem with Lions fans. Um, I see so many people who are like, "Oh, well, Branch needs to be better. We need to sit him down. He needs to be suspended, blah, blah, blah." Like, obviously, you got trolls even going as far as saying, "Cut him, get him out of here, blah, blah, blah." Like, he's undisciplined, whatever. I hate this hypocritical back and forth, want to be this, but then want to be that. Seer, tell me how many times you hear a person say, "The NFL is soft. The NBA is soft. I long for the days where sports used to be more physical. I miss the bad boys. Guys used to fight over that kind of stuff. Now they let people push them around." Everybody says that. And in Detroit sports in particular, everybody's about, "Oh, well, we got to grit and we got to be as tough as possible. And the bad boys would have put you on your ass for that," and all this kind of stuff. The Chiefs are the enemy. They are the enemy. They're the enemy of not just the Lions, but everybody. Nobody likes the Chiefs. They are the Jordan, the LeBrons, whatever, that the bad boys used to go out and go after and play physical against. That is Detroit sports as a whole. And encapsulates Detroit sports. Our best teams have always had people who push the limits. Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, Isaiah Stewart, even now as a Piston. I mean, when you think of Ndamukong Suh pushing the limits as a Lion, I mean, he did a lot of unnecessary stuff, but he was also damn near the best defensive player in the league. I mean, the going to work boys, they didn't allow anybody to push them around. The Malice at the Palace. Not saying we want necessarily Malice at the Palace levels, but this is Detroit sports. It's to be tough, it's to be physical, and sometimes you got to mess somebody up. And Brian Branch face palms the guy and throws him to the ground. And all of a sudden, everybody is like, "We're better than this. This is above us. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that." I love the edge Brian Branch plays with. It gives his team a different kind of personality. All the guys on the defense back him up. They support him as well. They willing to get dirty. Kirby Joseph, Meek Robertson, all them guys, Anzalone, all them guys are ready to get dirty and get down the same kind of way. If this is not the team that you want to see play like this, go find a new team. Flat out.
Eh?
I mean, you've seen Dan Campbell in the press conferences and all that. I don't care if he has three toes and one ass cheek. I will kick your ass. That's coming from Dan Campbell. That's straight from his mouth. We gonna bite their kneecaps off. Now, not saying that necessarily this is what Dan Campbell stands for, but this is a team that is physical, that is aggressive, and last but not least, will never, ever be bullied. Win, loss, before the play, after the play. You are not going to push this team around. So this whole, "Oh, I long for the days of the bad boys and my teams to be physical." but also the fact that, oh well, this is too much for me. Nah, nah, you can't have both sides. Either you like your guys to be physical, or you want that finesse and soft stuff, and that's okay if that's the style that you prefer. But be mindful, you are rooting for a Detroit sports team. They're always the underdog. They're always underrated. They always have to play with an edge. I love the edge he plays with. I posted on Twitter. I hope somebody starts some kind of fund for all the fines that Brian Branch get, because I got a 20 ball for you, Branch. I got a 20 ball for you. Keep playing this way. Don't be dumb. Don't be reckless. Don't get suspended or thrown out of games. There's a limit. I'm not saying I want to see him do this shit after every game. Against the Chiefs, yeah. Yeah. Mahomes, shut up. Like, don't come over me talking. Don't try to be sarcastic and want to shake my hand after you were taunting and showing off the whole game. Juju with your little TikTok dances. I don't want to hear that. You're not tough. Don't come up to me trying to check me. I'm going to throw you to the ground. I'm going to show you exactly what it's about. So, nah, I love it. I love it. I love the energy. Again, don't do this every game. Don't get suspended, but play with an edge. Do not lose this edge, especially as a Lions team that everybody, they were creeping toward the top of everybody's power rankings this week. Everybody was like, oh, the Lions are back. They're the best team in the league. Do not lose that edge. Remember that you are the underdog. Sometimes you got to lose like this. Sometimes you got to fight to keep that precision and that edge. I love what Brian Branch brings to the table. I support it 100%.
Hey, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna have to 100% agree with you. My take on it is okay. If we break a lot of this down, because we're gonna need a little time. If we break a lot of this down, my thing is when Patrick Mahomes went to try to shake Brian Branch's hand and he didn't, okay, it was over. Okay, it was over. I don't understand why Juju had to get involved. I never liked him. I never liked his soft dancing ass, first of all, because he
Mm-hmm.
does petty, sneaky stuff. And then when the energy comes back to him, he want to start crying. I don't understand why he got involved. And that's what we were talking about at the bar last night. Like, why did he have to get involved in the whole thing? Them two had it. Okay, it was over. Brian Branch was trying to walk away. Okay, so Juju Smith gets involved. Number one, Juju Smith gets involved knowing that he had already did that block in the back. Lions obviously are a little emotional. They lost. Also, Brian Branch is also a little emotional because you did that block and you technically got away with it, but he was like, you know what? I'm cool. I ain't gonna say nothing. I think the straw that broke the camel's back was when Juju had to get himself involved, trying to be funny and trying to do a handshake. I don't think Juju was trying to do that in good faith. I know he said it with the media. Oh, I was trying to give him a handshake and he threw a punch. Whatever. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. First of all, Patrick Mahomes should have got called on his taunting because the NFL want to throw flags, but obviously they ain't gonna throw it for Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes pointed at Brian Branch in the touchdown, did his little flex, did his little, swipe off his shoulders. That's taunting. So Brian Branch, I feel I'm not saying that it was completely right in the moment, but I feel that he had had enough of them getting away with stuff. And then he like, really, dude, is the time is winding down, and now y'all trying to be funny again. After I let it go that you did that block on me. Because to me, when I see Brian Branch, he was walking off the field. He might have been a little frustrated, whatever, but he was walking off the field. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand why the Juju cutoff had to be inserted. He inserted himself in something, and it's like he effed around and he found out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that part, and I think that that's what everybody's missing. Number one, Detroit sports and football is emotional. Detroit sports is emotional. I don't think it's that big. Everybody's trying to, oh, it was a brawl and oh, it was a fight and oh, it was this. Okay, let's just find both of them and let's keep it moving. I don't think there should be a suspension, but let's find them, keep it moving. I think that they probably gonna give Brian Branch a one game, which I don't like. Obviously, us playing Tampa Bay, I think they're gonna come down and give them one game, but I don't agree with it. I think just fine them, whatever. The dudes gonna fight in football all the time. I mean, back in the day, they used to be under that pile fighting, breaking
Exactly.
hands. I ain't saying break somebody's hand, but I'm just saying like football, hockey, it's emotional, and I don't think that we should blow this up as big as obviously it's getting. I've seen people saying calls for him to be arrested. It was a it was a hit after the game, so it's technically is assault charge. I'm like, okay, y'all reaching for the moon, the stars, the universe, the galaxy, baby, stop it. This is sport. It gets a little emotional, just like when we rooting for our team and say we have a comeback win. We jumping, we screaming, we emotional. It's not that deep, but I feel who's at fault. Number one, refs should have called that block, whatever the case may be. But I feel that Juju was at fault, in my opinion. Without him, I don't feel that this happens.
And that's why I'm glad you brought that up. If Hollywood Brown came up to Brian Branch and was saying something or was trying to playfully shake his hand, whatever sarcastic, that would have been Brian Branch's reaction. If Xavier Worthy did that, that would have been Brian Branch's reaction. You see, he didn't even go after Pacheco, and Pacheco was right there trying to grab him, pull him back. Because of the fact that it was Juju, you know when somebody say something wild to you, because here I'm sure you've had it happen before. Somebody say something to you and you like, okay. But when it's somebody says something to you that's wild and it's somebody that you already don't like, you like, what?
You're gonna get a little more
Yeah, nah,
irritated and angry.
you're not gonna get the same level of grace. You not like some people. It's like, oh, I'm gonna spare you. I'm not gonna act crazy. But if you know I don't rock with you and you just did something, like, nah, I'm gonna smack you. I'm gonna smack you, and that's exactly what Brian Branch did. And that's all he did was smack him, drag him to the ground. I know Juju. Oh, my face bleeding. He punched. Whatever, man. Whatever.
Juju will be
Whatever.
all right. Like I said, Juju should have left the Patrick Mahomes, Brian Branch exchange alone. Had he left it alone, this don't happen. Because Patrick Mahomes, I even give him credit. He had moved on. It didn't look like
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to walk after Brian Branch to try to shake his hand. He had moved on. Juju is the one that wanted this to be his moment. It's prime time. Now, I feel where Brian Branch went wrong. Obviously, it's a primetime game. All cameras on you. I feel he picked the wrong time to get
Wrong time,
revenge.
wrong team, all that.
I
Wrong
feel it
time,
was the
wrong team.
wrong time to get revenge, but I'm not going to sit up here and jump down Brian Branch's throat. It was just the wrong time because one thing with the Chiefs, they going to do underhanded, sneaky stuff. But one thing the Chiefs, they smart because they going to play the long game with you. Lions, we real. We know bush. We going to let you know right then and there in your face. We don't mess with you. We going to hit you. But the Chiefs, they going to do underhanded, sneaky stuff. I know they was taunting Brian Branch earlier with the touchdown. Patrick Mahomes was chirping when he was pointing at
Mm-hmm.
him and doing the flex. I'm sure when Juju tried to give him the handshake, he was talking mess. Patrick Mahomes, when he tried to give him the handshake after the game, they was talking mess. They do stuff on the sly. They don't do stuff out loud. And I think Brian Branch got to realize that sometimes these teams play the long game, and you got to play it with them. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. It's the level of privilege, and I ain't gonna talk about like politics and social stuff and all that, but like the Chiefs get the benefit of the doubt in a lot of cases. It just kind of is what it is. They're seen as less threatening than other people would be seen as, essentially. And it just kind of is what it is again. And like you said, Branch, while I appreciate your aggressiveness and the edge, obviously we can't do this every game. You can't, drag people to the ground at the end of the game, every single game. So got to be conscious of when and where to place the energy. But I love the fact that it came against the Chiefs. Coming against the Chiefs, but coming against the Packers, but Brian Branch is known for also antagonizing the Packers, throwing the middle finger up and all that kind of stuff. Um, I'm here for that to antagonize the people that the their level y'all two kind of play to each other. Like, don't do it to like the Titans. Don't threaten to get suspended for a game against the Titans. But against these teams, let them know. Let them know. But hopefully, we got Brian Branch against the Buccaneers, which I
I
know we
don't
want
think
to
we're
talk
gonna
about.
have him.
It, it's gonna be tough. If it's a one game suspension, I think he's gonna appeal it, so it might drag out a little bit. But um, obviously the Buccaneers game is a really big game. I think we both got because we probably need to get out of here. We probably should bounce back to the Buccaneers game maybe later this week to talk a little bit more about it because the Bucks are good. I don't want to just be like, oh well, I think we gonna win or we gonna lose. We need to talk about the Bucks here.
Well, we can talk about it. We got time.
Oh, you don't gotta be to work into?
Not at two. I said I didn't want to do it after two. I got to be to work at five.
Oh, okay. I thought you had to be to work at too. Well,
No.
in that case, we can talk a little bit about the Bucks, who are 5-1. Um, Baker
That
Mayfield
Baker
is
Baker Mayfield man.
playing outstanding. Emeka Ibuka, not just offensive rookie of the year, but getting probably top 10 offensive player of the year right now. I mean, the run game is mostly working for them. Their defense, I still feel like, has the potential to be threatened and attacked for sure, but they're not bad on that side of the ball either. And that offense is it's just tough. It's tough because it's like one of those teams that just they keep punching, they keep fighting. Even when the games are close, which they have had a lot of close games, but like they give it their all every single week. Like this is not a team that's going to push over. And I think the Lions are an interesting matchup for them, but we need some of them DBs back. I'm assuming that Lee McNeil will finally be back for this game. Um, but I think it's a very interesting matchup. I'm not sure what you're seeing.
I definitely feel that damn Baker Mayfield, that play he made yesterday where it was what, 3rd and 14, and he got out of 2 sacks. Well, 2 guys were trying to come at him and sack him. Did a juke, some stiff arm. Also, when he was getting tackled, held out his arm to place the ball on the first down. I mean, that Baker Mayfield, one thing about him, he is going to fight until the death of you. Also, in my opinion, right now, if we were to crown the MVP right now, I would hand it to Baker Mayfield. I mean, he has almost 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. 1 interception. Man,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
scrappy dude, man.
yeah. That's the one thing about Baker is that you feel like you'll get a couple opportunities, but like even that, he's not giving that away this year. Like everything is tough, everything is tight. I was watching that play live on the 30 or 14, and I was like, "Yo, what? Like, did he just get the first down? Like, he went from being sacked by 2 people to running like 20 something yards down the field. Like that was mighty impressive. But it feels like he does something like that almost every game as well. Then you got the way that he passes the ball. Obviously, is really the draw. So um, they're a tough matchup. I think the Lions can score points because I think the Lions can score points against anybody. But and it'll be at home and it'll be a primetime game. So I'm just hoping that this extra day of rest because it's going to be on a Monday night. I'm hoping that gives the Lions a chance to really kind of get things together to get some guys back. Hopefully, at least an Avante Maddox or somebody can jump back in. Obviously, Terry Arnold and DJ Reed will be out a little bit longer, but a little more health, a little more repetition on the offensive side of the ball to focus on the execution. Like there are a few things that we need to work on in these next few days. So hopefully that extra day serves the Lions well. But you got a prediction? Anything you expecting?
Well, before we do predictions, what about the injuries to the cornerbacks with Detroit though? Because is anybody gonna be playing next game?
I think Avante Maddox will be back, and I mean you still got obviously Amik Robertson and Rocky Sin, but yeah, I don't think Terry will be back yet. DJ Reed is on IR, so he's going to be out. I think 3 more weeks. I want to say so. This coming week, the bye week, and then he'll miss one more game. And then at that point, he'd be eligible to return. So only 2 more games that he's expected to be out for. But um, yeah, I think Avante Maddox is probably the only guy that get back, which is good because he's a veteran player. He can play, but I don't think TA gonna be back yet. Terrion probably gonna be back sometime after the bye. Honestly, nobody knows what exactly that injury looks like because it looked bad, but then people were like, "Oh, actually, it's not that bad." Then they were like, "Oh, he could return within a month, even." Like we don't know, but I'm assuming it'll probably be a few weeks from now at minimum. So, um, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. The Lions gonna have a very unique approach. I don't think that Baker Mayfield stresses the defense the way Patrick Mahomes does, but in some ways he does. In some ways he does. And he stretches it a little bit more vertically as well. So it's gonna be a game. They're going to get after him. They're gonna have to put more pressure on him. They weren't bad with the pressure last night. Mahomes is just kind of hard to get to. And Kansas City made a lot of quick throws. A lot of quick throws. I love to see the average time of how long Mahomes is holding the ball, but they made a lot of fast throws, exposed short zones, things like that. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to do that. So I think the Lions match up a little bit better, but I'd still be surprised if it's not high scoring.
Yeah, Well, one thing I will say, Lions went 15 and 2 last season. Our two losses came from Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills and Baker Mayfield and the damn Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think this is the only game I predict the Lions lose. My other predictions, I had my team Detroit winning. Now, bear with me now. Now Detroit, I'm still Detroit. I I just think with that Brian Branch suspension that will be, I feel, coming down. And Brian Branch wasn't even 100%. Kirby Joseph is not 100%. He may or may not play. We don't know. I know he was in and out of the game. I know he was kind of questionable before the game that whole week. You know, he's not 100%. We got our two corners, our two starters down and out. Uh, but then again, Tampa Bay does have their star wide receivers out too, but they do have Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it
I see us
it's gonna
having trouble.
it'll be interesting for sure. I'm not sure what the health of Tampa Bay's receivers are. I know Mike Evans has been out. Don't know if he'll be back. Chris Godwin's been dealing with some injuries too, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see what the health of the teams look like, definitely for sure, because that could be a huge determining factor
I
as to
hear
health when Brian
Evans
Branch is
may
there.
come back though.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think Mike Evans is a guy that the Lions. I think they struggle more against the possession receiver, the Godwin Ibuka types. Like, I don't know if anybody put any parlays together, but I take a Ibuka for whatever the overs are for sure. He's going to torch the Lions, unfortunately. So um, it's going to be one of those games. It is. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I think it's going to be fast paced, high scoring. Plus, the Lions will be at home, turf, indoors. I'd be surprised if both teams don't score in the 30s.
You think so?
I think the Lions will for sure. I think they'll have a very precise game plan coming off of this Kansas City game. I think they're going to be a little bit pissed off. Um, I think the Lions are going to come out ready to play. I think the question is, how do they hold up against Baker Mayfield when he extends the play? I think initially they can make the coverage, but they're going to have to get home on him and they're going to have to finish him. You got to finish him. You can't let him run around because then that's when he finds guys and he throws balls up, 50-50 balls. They got great 50-50 ball receivers. Like Abuka is one, Evans is one. Um, so it is going to be an interesting battle for sure. Very worthy of a Monday night game. Um, so I I see the Lions health depending winning this game. I do. I would favor the Lions this game. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to slow down the Lions offense. Will the Lions defense be able to slow down Tampa Bay's offense? Maybe not either. But I think the Lions offense is still better. And I think that if Brian Branch is out there, which again we don't know, if Ali McNeil is back, I think the Lions defense is also better. So um, I don't know. I see a crazy one though. I do see a crazy one. I see 44-31 or something crazy like that.
Prediction wise, I'm going to say I think Todd Bowles is going to cook up a nice little scheme for our backups, and we may play right into his hands. I see us having trouble on the defensive side. Again, the offensive side, I see us being okay. I see us scoring 30 piece. I see a 30 piece. That defense though, especially if Branch is out, Kirby's not 100%, plus all the other injuries. Mm, I'm going to go 30-37. I think Tampa Bay may pull this one out.
Okay. Should be interesting. Should be
But
interesting
I
for sure.
hope the Lions can pull this out. I just feel that defense, I wasn't impressed with them playing Kansas City last night. I think Baker Mayfield is going to scramble for some first downs. He's going to be a little scrappy. He's going to refuse to. But one thing about Baker Mayfield, he refuses to come off that damn field. If he got to go 15 yards for the first down, hell damn, he just going to have to do it. And I think that's going to be our issue. Baker Mayfield does not want to come off the field.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it could go any kind of way. Honestly, I really do, and I think the injury report is going to say a lot because if the Lions are able to get some guys back, then I think that does well for them. But um, Baker Mayfield going to challenge him regardless. So I just think the offense execution has to be really well. Oh, I just got a breaking news notification: the Titans fired their coach. That's
About
fun.
time, Miami Dolphins need to be next.
Yeah, it's a lot of teams that need to let some guys go. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Monday night again. I hope that gives the Lions a little bit of extra time to get some rest in.
Oh yeah, so we will be back probably because they play Monday at like 7. I thought I saw.
I think it's 7. Yeah,
Yeah, Monday night at 7, which is kind of weird time, but they usually play at 8 if it's
I
gonna be
think
a
it's because of it's going to be a doubleheader. It's going to be 2 Monday night games.
boo and where everybody's gonna be watching Detroit versus Tampa. But you know,
Thanks.
I continue. So we will see you probably Tuesday morning or it's Tuesday afternoon, depends on what our schedules are looking like. But yeah, we'll see you Tuesday. If anything breaking happens within now and Tuesday that we probably want to report on, maybe if there's a controversial Brian Branch decision and some injuries, some people being ruled out, some people being ruled in, if it's more important enough, big enough, I think we should maybe do a quick coverage of it. But other than that, we will be back Tuesday, Detroit. Love ya.
Peace.
Peace.